from the dark. So far, on both of my channels, I've escaped getting wide views quite nicely. I don't want to have like a million viewers, and I've said it before. I would rather have those that just are entertained and maybe educated in some ways or given something to think about than just whatever. Before I begin this story of adventure, I want to plant something in your mind. And your homework, my friends, is to decide how this applies to everything from motorcycles, pickup trucks, to dune buggies, to your choice of pets, to how modern society is failing in the mindset of people. And this is a saying. This is something that Thomas Sowell said, the wise Thomas Sowell, economist and rational human being. There are no solutions, only trade-offs. Think about it and apply it to what you see on the outside here. This is a story of adventure. What is adventure? Is it buying $25,000 worth of gear and racing through a sandy desert in 110-degree heat? No, I'd say that kind of sucks. But true adventure, back in 1969, a friend of mine who probably is no longer with us because he was older than I and also a chain smoker, so, statistically, he's probably not around anymore. But he was, I believe, 17. He was either 16 or 17. And this is back when younger people, hate to say it, were more capable than the same aged people today. By and large, there are still farm kids out there and other kids that know their way around the art of the wrench. But generally speaking, back then, kids were just more adult-like than they are now. Hell, back then, a 16-year-old kid was more adult-like than a lot of 40-year-olds, still living in mommy and daddy's basement. Playing Call of Duty, the manly art of sitting in front of a screen and pushing a button. This kid, he was 16 or 17, and he decided to go for a motorcycle ride on his Honda 90. Honda 90. And so he went from southern Michigan, taking back roads. This is not a interstate style of motorcycle. He was taking back roads. He had a map book. Blue highways. They had the dirt roads and the state highways. Now people basically don't go on unless they just want to go on a state highway because the interstate. And so he went from southern Michigan to Woodstock, a music festival. You might have heard about it. It happened in 1969 on his Honda 90, just this kid. And his equipment was a blanket and a poncho, sleeping on the ground under a poncho when it was raining. And I'm sure his expensive gear consisted of probably a helmet. There was helmet laws. A t-shirt, blue jeans, and some form of sneakers. Back then, probably Converse. Almost 700 miles as a under 18-year-old on a Honda 90 of all things. After the concert was over, he left, forget which county it was in, Woodstock, whatever. That's not the name of the town. He went north. He didn't just hightail it back to Michigan. This is an adventure, of a lifetime. So he went north, went into Canada, wandered around Canada, and then dropped back down. This was after the Mackinac Bridge was built. So he probably rode this thing over the Mackinac Bridge and came back down, which I'm sure more than doubled the distance on a Honda 90. Now I give it to you as far as adventure. And raise your hand if you're able to take 6 months off and go through Morocco and Mongolia and cross the Himalayas and all that. Probably none of us. But how many of us are able to go on an adventure on something that's adventure worthy? What is the point of things? Just to make it so easy and so fast that... But I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to drink my Red Bull and get ready for the day. My big advice for today is check the weather. If it's going to rain, don't leave your windows down. So I have wet jeans. But that's all right. I'm not made out of sugar. I'm not going to melt. Here's to you, Honda 90 riders and adventurers of all stripes.